The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Happiness Jungle TV show with your host, your Chief Happiness Officer, Lyn-Dee Eldridge. And I'm excited today. I'm excited because we're here to make a difference in Pups' world. And when I mean pups, I mean dogs. Yes, I do, about rescuing. Do you realize that the unconditional love that you could get from an animal is so priceless that if you ever have an animal or you rescue an animal, you will absolutely understand what I mean? And today we are blessed with Mr. Jon Morton. And where are you from, out of?
Loudon.
Loudon.
Yes.
Loudon, New Hampshire. He is a media rep for Hero Pups. And I'm excited about today's show because you're also going to understand what it means to be a part of cause marketing. Hi, Jon. How are you?
Doing great today. How are you?
I'm excited to have you here, Jon. You know, we never even met face to face. This is the first time that you and I are sitting. So this conversation is as real as could possibly be, right?
It's real, raw, and relatable.
Real, raw, and relatable. And I just found out just a few seconds before we started airing the show that you're also becoming an author and you are putting together a book. Let's start with that. Share with me your book.
Okay, so the premise of the book is the fact that about cause marketing. I got involved with a nonprofit to help them to grow and at the same time to help my business because I'm networking in a different way and people perceive me in a different way. That was my thought that it was going to be. But it turned into something so much more heart-centered, and it changed me as a person. So it wasn't just about the business, it made everything different in my life.
Wow.
Being involved in it. And so me going out to help this business, you know, in different ways, I brought in a videographer, somebody's helping with the website. We just secured a grant the other day for $7,500. You know, little things like that that I've helped with. That's great for the nonprofit. But all the things, I've gotten back so much more than I've given, I feel. And so the book is called Who Rescued Who? Who
Rescued Who? And it's all about rescuing animals, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I know that you deal with Hero Pups, and I love that. We're going to learn more about that. Yep. But I think that just goes for any animal. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, any animal and the unconditional love. Okay, so now I need to take you back a little bit because my main purpose for my show is to have our audience realize that they have a passion within, and I have no idea what that is. But you do. They do. And I want them to hear, who is Jon? How did this happen that you got involved in such an unconditional mission? Who are you, Jon?
Okay, so I guess I could take it back 7 or 8 years ago, whatever. I was at a personal development workshop. It's actually called Humans Being More. It was about 80 people, mostly entrepreneurs. One of them was Cammie Baker.
Okay.
I met her there. She was selling real estate at the time, and she was, you know, just kind of figuring out what she wanted to do next. What's the next step? And I've kept up with it, you know, following her and seeing what she did as she went on to HGTV, the House Hunter Show, the Celebrity Apprentice. And then she published a book and she did speaking events and grew a big business with network marketing. So I saw a lot of success. And then there was the car shows that she did. She helped out with these car shows and she helped Live and Let Live Farm. So that was cause marketing.
Right.
I didn't know what it was at the time.
How old were you?
40 maybe.
Okay.
But I didn't know what the concept of cause marketing, and I've heard about it, and it's in her book. It talks about Starkist tuna, for example.
Right.
Okay. They said, okay, there's this problem where dolphins are getting injured or killed in the process of tuna fishing. We'll be dolphin safe We can even charge 5 cents more a can, and their sales skyrocketed. Their sales actually went up, even though they were charging more because they're dolphin safe. Okay, so that's another, form of cause marketing. So I had contacted her earlier in the year, not even knowing what cause marketing was. I just contacted her as a business coach. How can you help me to grow my business? And she said, well, first we're going to get you involved. It was a little bit longer, explanation, but she said, first we're going to get you involved with a cause, a network, a nonprofit of some type. And I said, okay, not seeing where this is all going or whatever. And then when I first got involved in it, I said, oh, okay, I get it. It's because people are going to say, oh, look what he's doing. That's great. So we want to give him business. But I still didn't get it.
Okay.
Till I really started getting involved and I started to see how this impacted other people's lives and the dogs and everybody that was being impacted. And then that's when it started to change me.
What made you choose animals? What made you choose dogs?
I have 2 rescue dogs at home.
Okay.
And then as far as the veterans part, I'm a veteran. And this particular organization, I did a lot of looking into. There's a number of organizations out there that do something similar. What I noticed is this is the only one that helps not only veterans, but first responders.
What do you mean by first responders?
Police, fire, rescue, EMTs and so forth. And, I was in the Air Force during the first Gulf War, but I was in Germany.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. But I wasn't in the middle of action like a lot of people that you hear about that have PTSD and anxiety. And when you think about first responders, whether it's police or whatever, nowadays, every single day for them is going into a war zone. Depending on where they are, it can be a real war zone every day. And they can suffer from those things. And these are hidden wounds, And this is something that it's a big cause. It's a mental health challenge. And so when I did a bunch of research, phone calls, emails, and everything, I found Laura and Hero Pups, and I said, this kind of resonates with me. And so then I met her.
Laura Barker.
Okay. Can't forget the name Barker because we're talking about dogs here.
That's right. So Hero Pups, the meaning behind the title, the entity Hero Pups, is because of our
heroes.
The heroes, okay.
Veterans, first responders, they're the heroes. And the pups are heroes too, but the pups are the pups for heroes.
Okay. Oh, I love it. So prior to this, what were you doing?
Well, I have a network marketing business, plus I work at a car dealership.
Okay, so your background had nothing to do with what you're involved in now. It was the passion within that once you figured it out, you were able to end putting yourself with like-minded people, networking, as you're trying to figure out who am I, what do I want to do next in my life, and then boom. So I have a philosophy. Always go to networking events where you have like-minded people because you just don't know what could develop out of that.
That's right.
Correct? And that's pretty much your story.
Yep.
Okay, so you went to network marketing, you found Cammie Baker, and you understand now why cause marketing, where you had no clue about cause marketing before.
Yep.
You said, my goodness, I'm a veteran.
Yep.
I love animals. And here I am today, all because you allowed yourself to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Okay, good.
And that's a great point you make, because I was just thinking about an example of where, like Cammie says, I'm a contribution.
Yes.
And some people say, well, that's poor grammar. My grandmother was an English teacher, and I'm a contributor. Well, no, I'm a contribution because I'm giving of myself to this, not just money or time or what. I'm giving the connections I have, I'm giving my skills, my ideas. I wrote the grant, for example. I'm giving of myself.
Yes.
To be a contributor, a lot of people do that,
Donating.
They donate their.
And we love you for it. We absolutely love you for it. Yep.
You put your money in the Salvation Army bucket. You send your money to whatever. That's contributing. And so I figured out a way, just by some of her ideas about Facebook Live, for example. I went knocking on some businesses. We had Title Boxing Club in Concord. They decided we'll do a fundraiser for Hero Pups. Okay, what we'll do is we're going to get some raffle items, and members and just people driving by or that hear about it on social media and so forth, they can come buy raffle tickets, and all the money raised will go to Hero Pups. I'm like, that's a great idea. So now we got to go get raffle items. So I went to different businesses and told them what we were doing. They gave me gift cards.
So let me ask you something, because we have people that are watching you go, wait a second, I may be able to do something. The gift certificates and the gifts that you were raffling off, were they animal stuff, or was it?
No, doesn't have to be.
You see what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be.
Right.
Okay.
And being that it was titled Boxing Club, some of it was health themed, because this is a health club.
Right.
But there was some restaurants. There
Excellent.
was Romance Jewelers in Concord. They were one of the big contributors for that. So what they did is they gave me gift cards to bring to the raffle, and then I did a Facebook Live, and I showcased this is a business that just helped us do this, and this is what they contributed. So it's kind of not free, but it's advertising for them, and they really just want to help the cause. But at the same time, they're being a contributor.
Constantly are paying it forward.
Yeah, and they're gaining from cause marketing without even knowing it.
That's right.
So I figured that out, and then I said, well, this is fun. So I just started going business to business, and I collected from about 4 different restaurants, a barbershop, a hair salon, the jewelers, and Grand Estate Natural Foods. They did 2 different gift baskets. I mean, so it just, people saw what I was doing online. They said, and started sending me personal messages and saying, how can I help?
Wow.
And that's
cause marketing.
Then when you look back, you say, oh, wow, I'm really doing something here. And you hear from people you haven't heard from in years. They're like, hey, John, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm really excited to see what you're doing.
How'd that make you feel?
Amazing, because it's not, the initial idea was, okay, I'm going to do something that's going to help me network better. It's going to have a different approach that I have to my business. And it turned out to be something that people have a different way they view me in life, and I view myself totally different as well.
What changes? Tell me about some personal changes, because that's important. Whenever you're doing anything, for your professional life, and hopefully you're very passionate about it, it does affect you. It makes you become who?
Well, you gain empathy. You realize, like
softer, kinder.
Yeah, I went to an event called Justice for All, and it related to how there's some people working on a project to help veterans that have done something wrong to not have to just be thrown in a jail and put away for the rest of their life or whatever, but they might have a different approach that they can go through counseling, and it's not a get out of jail free card, but
that's right.
It's something to give back to our veterans, because if you think about it, we put them in a situation where
it's pretty heavy.
They come back here, and they're not quite the same, and it's not 100% their fault if they do something in some cases. And listening to the veteran that was speaking, and he was wearing a shirt that said the number 22 on it, and that's significant because they say that about 22 veterans per day commit suicide. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is a lot bigger than people realize. And another one of the colonels that was talking about it, he said that you have these young men that are mostly men, I mean, as far as in combat and stuff, and women, but they are in these foreign countries. They don't know if today's going to be their last day. They're constant adrenaline rush. And then within 24 hours, when they're done their tour, they're back home.
Right.
Nothing happening.
Wow.
It's like a train coming to a stop. All of a sudden, it just, and it's kind of hard to transition.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't personally injured or anything.
That's right.
It's just very hard to transition like that. And I never really stopped to think about it. Even being a veteran, I'd never stopped to think about that.
I don't think any of us do.
Right.
Because we're not living that. And what we see on television, we get to put our head on a fresh pillow at night.
Yep.
And we get to turn it off. But it's really happening in the world in all different ways. And I don't watch the news because I just find it to be the most negative place. But I don't also want to be naive to what our soldiers, men, women are dealing with, as well as their families are dealing with.
And the
you
first
know,
responders.
And the first responders are dealing with, and everybody that has come front line. I don't know what they've been through, but I could appreciate that it would have made such a horrific difference in their lives. Somehow it impacted them.
Yep.
And now we're going to bring Hero Pups into it, because now we're going to talk about the unconditional love, the passion that you have within to bring our, our veterans and the love that they deserve without ever being judged.
Right.
To be looked at with the love that is unconditional.
Yep.
Let's go there, because that's just magnificent, and that's what the Hero Pups are about, and that's what you're about now, Jon. And I can see it in your eyes as I look in your eyes. I didn't know you before. I don't know what kind of person you are, but I see a very soft gentleman. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, because that means you have a big heart to contribute to what you're doing.
Right.
So
And
let's share that.
Okay, so what you just said about the news is a great point. I look at it sparingly, just enough to see if I'm in there. But there was there was an article, and I'll go to something that just has the headlines.
That's right.
And it was an article. I didn't read it. It just said 8 out of 10 people are stressed. Okay, there's no big secret why, because they're watching the news.
Big time. Right there.
Okay, we have 3 choices. Okay, we can be part of the bad news. Whether we watch it or just be part of it by doing something wrong or whatever. We can be part of good news, like doing something like Hero Pups, cause marketing, and so forth.
The happiness jungle.
The happiness jungle, absolutely. We can be part of the good.
Yeah.
Or we can do nothing. And
That's right.
and there's a lot of sayings about doing nothing is just the same as doing something bad. So the only real good choice out of those 3 is to do something good. And, at the end of the day, I mean, all these bad things could be happening around you, but okay, at least I made a difference today in some way, then I can feel good about that. And then the next day, okay, what are we going to... And as an entrepreneur coming into this nonprofit, a lot of times a volunteer, perfect thing to have is volunteers for every nonprofit. Every nonprofit needs as many volunteers as possible. Most of the time what they do is they show up, say, how can I help today?
Right.
You give them an assignment to do, and they'll do it, and they'll help, and that's wonderful. When you're coming in with the entrepreneur mindset, you're like, great, we got that $7,500 grant. Now what do we have to do to prove that we can deserve a $30,000 grant?
Right.
Because you're thinking in an entrepreneur way and how to grow this as a nonprofit. And how do we make that $7,500 go as far as some other organization is making $15,000 go? How can we make it go twice as far?
Right.
How do we cut out inefficiencies? How do we look at this as like a business model? And by the way, and Laura will tell you this, nobody's paid. We're all volunteers.
All right.
So unlike some of the organizations out there where you have some big salaries.
That's right.
Our
And there's
income,
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with
that.
it.
And when you get really, really big,
yeah.
sometimes you need that, position.
Right.
But when you can have somebody that is getting benefited directly to their business rather than from the proceeds to the nonprofit, everybody's benefiting.
That's right. Take me in the back of the door of the Hero Pups. What goes on in behind the door with the pups, with the dogs, with the animals? Share with me that.
I'd say Laura will probably be the better one to get deep into that part of it. There is, first you have the acquisition of the dogs. And there's vet bills, there's quarantines. I mean, some of the dogs recently came from Houston. So that's extremely important that you quarantine. That's a whole other story, how she got involved with the Houston relief effort separately.
I'll ask her.
Right? And as far as you have the vet bills, you have training. That's a huge thing. It can be 4 to 6 months, okay?
Right.
Training the dogs. And then, you have obedience training, but you also have acclimating the dogs to different people. Loud voices, deep voices, high voices, traffic or country settings, you name it. There's so many different things because you don't want a dog to get startled in front of a person that has having anxiety. I mean, obviously, and not every dog makes it through the program and is going to be a good fit. So there's other people, oftentimes they're veterans' families, that don't have PTSD and so forth.
Right.
but they can be adopted out as pets in those
good.
circumstances. And then you have the training. She has a kennel fencing area. We get, there's feeding of the dogs. There's anything you can imagine about raising a dog, but you're only raising it for, a matter of months. And then there's the part which, again, she can tell a lot better, the matching of the veteran, okay, or the first responder. The VA actually recommends people. So she has a list of people that are just, being recommended or referred by the VA to see her for a pet or for a, companion. And so she has to make sure that they're a good fit. We want to make sure it's good for both the dog and the veteran or first responder. And it's not like, okay, well, here's your dog. We don't just give somebody a dog and just hope it all works out. There's a process of making sure, okay, this is a little dog. You have an apartment, you need a lap dog. Or somebody might be in a wheelchair or something like that. They need a smaller dog. Somebody else might want a larger dog. If you watch Chronicle a few weeks ago, there was a veteran on there, and he has a larger dog, and he told his story about how he got involved, and that tells you a little bit more about how that works.
Okay, that's awesome. How do they get a hold? Let's go right to the audience right now. If you have a pen and paper, write this down, and of course you'll see it right here. How to get in touch with Jon and how to get more involved with Hero Pups. But how can they get in touch with Hero Pups? There's a veteran out there right now. There's somebody who's frontline that's saying, oh my gosh, I need the phone number.
Right. Okay, so heropups.com. That's the website, heropups.com.
There you go.
Okay, and also you will see somewhere on the bottom of the screen there is my email. And if you go to my website for my business, there's Hero Pups website is also on there.
Right.
So there's a couple different ways.
How long is the process? So they decide that, oh my God, they want to get in touch with Hero Pups.
Yep.
How long is the process usually from the time that they notify you to the time that possibly they're matched up?
It can be a few months.
That's good.
Which is actually, it sounds like a lot. I mean, it's, it's longer than we like it to be.
Right.
I mean, the ideal thing as we move along is that we can shorten that. There's some organizations that could be 2-year waiting list. We're putting the money back into the program with the dogs, the training and so forth, and not into frivolous things that some organizations are doing, which is unfortunate. So besides, some of the other benefits cause marketing can be for a nonprofit is efficiency. If you're only going to have X amount of dollars coming in, so you have to be the most efficient about how you utilize that money.
That's right.
So, I mean, you can benefit more people and more dogs with the same amount of money.
Big time.
Yeah.
I used to live down in the South Florida area, and I owned a pet store there, and it was called Pugsley's. And my main purpose for my pet store was to be a mom and pop that was different than anybody else. And I was the one that would help shut down the puppy mills. I was the one who would stand in front line of all the rescue all of my animals, no matter what kind of animal I've had. I've had monkeys, I have pigs, I had animals. They were from rescues. And I became the rescue center for all of the nonprofits. And it was so wonderful to be a part of that community and watch the process, and not for people just to come in to adopt a dog because they thought the dog was cute or perfect, but they sat down with the person, they put them off to the side, did they get along with the animal, how is the animal reacting? And it was one of the most rewarding parts of my life, so I have a feeling that I'm going to be a part somehow more involved with Hero Pups because I just love everything that you're doing, Jon.
Yeah.
And
once you meet Laura.
and then I'm going to meet Laura.
You can't get involved in not necessarily just Hero Pups, but you can't get involved in something this heart-centered.
That's right.
And not be affected somehow.
It's true.
I mean, earlier in the year, there was someone that I had met, and long story, it turned out that his father and my brother-in-law had been friends for 30 years.
Wow.
It was just a total coincidence. But he does video work, and that's one of the things he does on the side. And So I asked them, hey, would you do a video for this fundraiser that's coming up? They're making the world's longest lobster roll. It's going to be this huge event, right? Portsmouth at the British Beer Company. He says, great, that's a great opportunity for me. So he filmed it, he edited it, put music to it, and that was the first, and this video proof of what this organization's about. And I'm like, that's great for everybody. And guess what? You just did cause marketing.
That's right.
Right. So,
exactly.
So he's done a number of those, and now we have somebody that does from New Hampshire strategic marketing. Okay, he does websites and SEOs and so forth.
Yep.
He's volunteering his time to upgrade our website and so forth.
And when you pay it forward like that, it comes back to you in so many different ways,
Yep.
Get involved with something that you love and you're passionate about. Figure out where these like-minded people are hanging out. Go to meetup.com, put in your hobbies, your businesses, everything, and you will find yourself in a new group of people that will bring you the prosperity that you want.
That's right. Yep.
And I'm all about helping all different nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit out there, if you are involved in any kind of way that you're helping people, contact me here at the studio. Contact me and let me know that you exist, because this is what I love to do. I love to make sure that the word is out about cause marketing, right? About exactly what we're doing. And just to think, 2 weeks ago, John, I didn't even know that you existed. You had no idea that I existed. And then boom, here we are today.
Yep.
It's because like-minded, fabulous people stick together.
Right.
You could also go hang out with people that, don't bring value into your life. And then where are you? So, just stick and stay with better, like-minded people. Always, never be the smartest person in the room, so you could always learn and make a difference in your life. So I can't believe it. We are out of time, John. Last words of wisdom for our audience.
All I can say is what I think I said this in the beginning. It might have been before we started filming. Is there are certain moments that come in your life that you have the chance to go out there and do something about it, or you can say, no, that's not for me. I got a text from the guy that does the video a couple months ago, and he said, hey, let's go skydiving. Okay. So this spring, we're going to go skydiving. Now I've said it on video, so now we have to do it. So there's a group of us, and it's becoming this big group, and we're somehow going to turn it into a fundraiser for Hero Pups. So.
That's the story, and we're sticking to it. We never said that life was easy, but we could say, and we do say, that you can be happier. This is Lyn-Dee Eldridge, your Chief Happiness Officer with the Happiness Jungle, here with Jon Morton with Hero Pups. Make a difference in your life so you can make a difference for others. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.